One of Shakespeare's strongest passions was the theater. He loved to perform and to create new plays. In 1594, Shakespeare became one of the founders of a leading players' company in Europe. This was a theater group named Lord of Chamberlain's Company. It was a complete success, but it was forced to close in 1597 due to issues with the land. Afterwards, Shakespeare was completely motivated to build another theater. That is why in 1599 he built with his business partners a theater named the Globe. This was an special place because all of his plays were performed and he had tons of time to keep producing more and more plays. Shakespeare began his career during the rule of Elizabeth I. It was an excellent time to start his career because England flourished and it was the golden age of Elizabeth due to her amazing ruling. He is mostly referred as an Elizabethan playwright because he performed for her a lot of times. Shakespeare continued producing plays during the reign of King James I. He ruled with the ideal of political absolutism. By this ruling, Shakespeare got inspired to produce his most darkest plays, which included the themes of murder, betrayal, and power. These plays included Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, Antony, and Cleopatra and the Tempest. Shakespeare brought Renaissance values to the theater world. He created characters with psychological complexity. He used knowledge of Greek and Roman classics to produce his plays. He used a lot of humanity while writing because he described humans as persons who aren't perfect, have emotions, and make mistakes.
Oxfordians were convinced that the 17th Earl of Oxford was the primary source of Shakespeare's works. Thomas Sackville also had a hand in the works of Shakespeare. Shakespeare admired many works from Chaucer, known as the father of English literature. Shakespeare used many of his poems for inspiration. Shakespeare also used one of Plutarch's works, called Parallel Lives, as a primary source for Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, Coriolanus, and Timon of Athens. Shakespeare began to get recognized in London by 1592, the time when he wrote his earliest plays. Shakespeare was a regular dramatist in the Lord Chamberlain's Men, or King's Men. He produced an average of 2 plays a year, which made him really wealthy. He was also connected with this theatrical company for most of his professional career as a dramatist.
Shakespeare's lives and hobbies. He enjoyed board games like chess and cards. He enjoyed hunting and fishing. He attended grammar school in Stratford-upon-Avon. He learned archery when he was a little boy. After the death of Queen Elizabeth I, Shakespeare was awarded a royal patent by the new King James I. The acting company of the Queen changed from Queen's Men to King's Men. Shakespeare loved dogs and birds. In fact, his plays have 200 references to dogs and 600 references to birds. His greatest plays include Hamlet, King Lear, Othello, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. The first publishing of Shakespeare's work is the first folio, published in 1623. Did you know that Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway at the age of 18 in 1582? 6 months later, they had their first baby, Susanna. Then they had twins, Hamnet and Judith.
His parents were both from different social classes, his mother being noble Catholic and father being a farmer, meaning Shakespeare was in the noble Catholic class. The standard of living of his wife and kids improved because Shakespeare became very successful, and it is said that they lived the nowadays millionaire life. After Shakespeare's retirement, they lived in Stratford and enjoyed a rich social class, and he was constantly being visited by famous people of the days.